So I think I'm going to make a start time-wise, just so that we're kind of making the most of our time together. So as I said, I'm going to be talking from Isaiah chapter 26 verse 3, and this is the verse. You will keep the mind that is dependent on you in perfect peace, for it is trusting in you. And that's kind of the verse that I'm going to speak around this morning. The fact that when we behold God, when we put our focus on him, he keeps us in perfect peace. So for those of you that are linked into a community group like myself, I hope that's providing you with some source of comfort, that it's allowing you to connect with people in our church midweek, that it's allowing you to kind of connect with God and not maybe feel quite so from the body of our church in the week. So for me, I'm part of the Well, with amongst others the lovely Greg and Anna Fain, and they did something beautiful for us on Wednesday. We had a time of reflective worship, probably a bit similar to those of you that night for the Pentecost Sunday reflections, and Anna played a song, and there was a line in the song that stuck out to me for lots of reasons, and it said, I will become what I'm beholding. And so I'm just going to let that sit with you for a moment, that we will become what we are beholding. And so I guess I've got a question for you guys this morning. What is it that you are beholding? What is it that you are giving your focus to? What are you gazing on? What is filling your imagination? What is giving you your motivation? What is it that you're focusing on this morning? So it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it? In this time where we're still socially distant, in this time where there's not the usual distractions of life, it can be really tricky sometimes, and I think that's normal, isn't it, to struggle to keep our focus on the day-to-day and on sometimes the task in hand. But what I wanted to look at is that when we behold something, we observe something that we think is remarkable or impressive. And there's a lot of good stuff in the world, there's a lot of good content being put out at the moment, but I want to encourage us, and I want to challenge myself, that the best and the most remarkable thing that we can focus on, that we can behold, is Jesus, and the way that he loves us, and the way that we can show that love to other people. So when we focus on something, we give particular attention to it. Now, just by way of testimony, whenever I talk on anything, the person that learns the most is always me, just being honest. And so before lockdown, quick example, Ad and I redecorated our bedroom. We've lived in our house for like 14, nearly 15 years. And you know how you start decorating one room and gradually you move around the house. And for us, we'd kind of just not really done a great deal with our bedroom. And so we decided that, you know, we're going to do that now. So we repainted the walls. Some of our furniture was falling to pieces, literally falling to bits. And so we needed to replace stuff. And then lockdown happened, and you can't get tradespeople in and all sorts. So I took it upon myself to find bits to finish our bedroom. So bits of artwork, bits of, you know, a cushion here and there, all the normal stuff that you like to have in perhaps in your bedroom. And I noticed that in the mix of the busyness of life and schooling kids and all sorts of other good stuff that we end up doing, when I had time, I would spend it in the last couple of weeks looking online for stuff for our bedroom or for bits in the house that needed finishing, because this is where I'm spending all my time at the moment. And I kind of realised that I'm giving my attention to the wrong thing. I love it, and there's nothing wrong at all with shopping online, with browsing things, with making our homes nice. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, I was spending my Bible time and I was spending my God time just zoning out to little bits of things that were perhaps not the best. And so I was beholding and giving my focus to things that weren't necessarily feeding me in the best way. And it got me thinking. And so when I was talking to God about this, and when I heard that line in a song, I will become what I'm beholding, it started to make me wonder, what am I beholding? And so Isaiah 26 chapter 3 says, you will keep the mind that is dependent on you in perfect peace because it trusts in you. Now, when we're dependent on something, we rely on it. It is our life source. It is the sole thing that we are focusing on. We have riveted focus because we are dependent on that in order to manage and to be okay. And I'll be honest, in this time, I just think we need to be that dependent on God. We need to have that sense of complete trust and dependence and security being found in Him. And so when I started to look at this idea of focus and why it's important, we all know, don't we, that what we fill our bodies with is kind of how healthy we will be, and what we fill our minds with and what we focus on is how healthy our minds will be. And I started looking at sort of how people in challenging circumstances, a bit like the one we're in, how they keep their focus. And one of the things that Ad and I find really beautiful to behold is nature, particularly natural wonders, so things like mountains and lakes, even the beach. We love going to the beach. And so I started to have a look at how people manage when they're faced with something that inspires awe or wonder, or even something that that causes them to kind of shift their perspective, where they really have to focus to get through it. And I don't know if you've heard the joke, a lot of my friends say it, when they're facing something tough, they usually say, oh, I don't know how I'm ever going to get over this. It's like my Everest. And it got me thinking. So I started to do a bit of research on how people that are elite climbers, when they're faced with something that is big, when they're faced with literally their Everest, because that's what they're actually climbing, how do they keep their focus when they're beholding something that feels bigger than they are, when it's difficult to keep their focus, but they have to because their life is dependent on it. How do they manage? So their focus becomes their prime importance. So when they're doing one of these climbs up Everest, they get into a zone. So in other words, they monitor their pace, they focus on their breathing, and they focus all their mental and physical energy on the task ahead. So their focus is on the immediate. They've got the bigger picture. When you listen and you look and you watch interviews with these elite climbers that have climbed Everest maybe several times, the thing that's common about all of them is this mental focus on what they behold. And so as I was reading this, I just felt kind of struck by it, that when we are faced with something that is bigger than us, that can easily overwhelm us, just like it does those climbers with Everest, when we're faced with whatever is our Everest, whether that's COVID or not at the moment, what we behold is so important. You see, they behold the bigger picture, but their focus is on the step by step. They monitor their pace. They know that they can't do it all at once, and they're reliant on the team around them, just as we're reliant on each other and we're reliant on God. So their focus is really important. They use short. They focus on the task ahead of them, and that they use that to not get overwhelmed. Now, obviously, they have proper preparation and training, and they rely, all of them said, they rely on past experience, and for them that's crucial. So they train to acclimatise to different atmospheres, different pressures. They push themselves physically and mentally so that when they're in that situation, they know how to respond, they trust their instincts, and they're able to achieve their ultimate goal, which is the ascent and then the successful descent of that peak, that one being Everest. And it just got me thinking, what they behold is the bigger picture, but as I said, they focus on the step by step. They focus on the short-term goals, and they put their trust in their experience, and they put their trust in the people around them. Now, we do that as well, don't we? We rely on our experience of God, we rely on our experience of fellowship and of community with one another, and that's what sustains us when we're not together at the moment. But just like they behold the bigger picture, they work on the step by step. And for us, we've talked a lot in the last couple of weeks about crossing a desert, and we're going to move to talk about the Holy Spirit, and he guides us, doesn't he, step by step, and we work as a team in order to face the thing that might be overwhelming us at the moment. So I just wanted to encourage you today, as it says in Isaiah 26 verse 3, that when we behold the good thing, the best thing, we don't get overwhelmed by the bigger picture. We walk step by step, in step with Jesus, because when our focus is on him, he can guide our steps, and he can bring us, as it says in this verse, peace when we become dependent and we trust in him. So be encouraged today, church. Focus, I guess, on beholding God. Yeah, it's so easy to be distracted by all sorts of other stuff, but like those elite climbers, let's give our focus and our mental energy and rivet on the most important thing. So be blessed today. I will let you say the Lord's Prayer in your own time, but I just wanted to encourage you today that when we keep our focus on God and we behold him in the face of all sorts of other things that we might be facing, we can have that peace that we're all after. Okay, so be blessed this morning, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.